Okay, so today we are going to go through some mermen. And it took me a while to even start this video because as I'm saying these things, like as I'm talking about mermen and fairies and things like that, I know I sound crazy. I know that if um, like my close family knew I was talking about this, they actually no, they would actually think it was pretty cool. But yeah, I realize that it is a crazy but also very cool thing to consider and think about. So basically, instead of doing a blog post like I did with the fairies, I wanted to do an actual video for the merman, not just because we love mermen, but because there's a lot of more specific traits I wanted to show in action because they're so specific and very interesting actually to me. So yeah, I believe that even though that we're rooted in this third dimension, we have um, alternate forms, parallel forms in higher dimensions that are like literally existing right now. And a lot of us are kind of streaming those energies down to this level, if that makes sense. So in this case, I'm going to be talking about men specifically who are streaming down mermen energy. And to me, mermen are real. They just exist in a higher dimension, and hopefully, this kind of this classification kind of video that I'm doing will show you that we are these like higher dimensional forms. Like we exist on every dimension, not just this one. So it's like we are the fairy, we are the mermaid, we are that star race. Like we don't have to do all this work to try to connect them. We're already them, if it makes sense. So for light mermen, I found Daniel Craig Santino Fontana, who is the voice of Hans in Frozen. Joaquin Phoenix, Greg Ferguson, who is actually a higher ranking merman. So sometimes when reading a photo, you'll know if someone has a high amount of power in higher dimensions. They come off as almost royal, like a king or queen. And Craig Ferguson has that energy to him. We also have Post Malone and River Phoenix, who is Joaquin Phoenix's little brother, which is pretty interesting how they both have very strong merman energy. For dark merman, I found Ricky Martin, Paolo Zote, who is a well-known Broadway performer, Daniel Tennant, who plays Doctor Who, Taylor Lautner, we all know him, right? Nathan Lane, and Rick James. And it is interesting because you can see that there honestly is some physical similarities, and I always find that the similarities can be seen mostly in the eyes. So you can see with them, their eyebrows are just kind of like flat across, and this is the same with like female mermaids as well. So I was like, okay, interesting. And just like that kind of like straight, kind of like brow bone, they all have that. You also might notice that they, like when you look at their eyes, it's almost like with the fairies, and I'll show like a quick picture of the fairies so you can compare the eyes. But with the male fairies, it's almost like their gaze is like going at you. It's like very piercing. And with the mermen, it's almost like they're drawing you in to their eyes, almost like you're drowning in their eyes. Seriously. It's a thing. Okay, so in the way that I find these mermen is, or any of these elemental celebrities, is I go through a whole list of celebrity birthdays and I literally just read them one by one. So I'm not looking for, oh, this guy kind of looks a little mermanish and this guy kind of looks like him. So I'm not doing that. I'm just going through a whole list and just seeing and just literally reading people one by one. So, and then taking all the mermen that I get and then kind of putting them together in one group. Okay, so the first common trait that is absolutely a thing between all of the mermen is that they all have a very soft, soothing, and sort of whispery voice. So I'm going to show you some clips just kind of demonstrating that.
It's different for Danny, I think, than it would be for me. I mean, I would have been a lot more distressed by it all. And
people feel so personal with people, but it's super unpersonal at the same time.
And he said that wasn't necessary. And I said it was. It was really important that I was able to do it in front of him.
I think Sam, me, the producers, we all set out to really celebrate what James Bond is about.
And just about family and about finding your own place and belonging and wanting to fit in.
And I appreciate that. I understand what it is.
Right.
And so I talked to him on the air, and we were cordial, but we were never friends.
I am accepted by an audience, but the most important thing is me going back home every day and my kids running.
One of the greater things to happen in my life over the last year is the rekindling of our friendship.
No one was kinder or more generous, and he was a great colleague and a great human being.
Moments like that were probably the oddest, the most kind of vertiginous. They made your head spin.
There were some people there trying to get through to a promoter, and usually when people try to do that, they go through to the artist.
My cabaret shows with songs from the American Songbook, Brazilian songs, and of course Broadway songs.
Another common trait is that mermen will often be known for their voices. They will often have very beautiful singing voices, even if they aren't primarily a singer as their career. When they do randomly sing, people seem to be surprised at how beautiful their voices are, and here are some examples of them singing.
I took a shot of cocaine and I shot my woman down. I went right home and I went to bed. I stuck that loving 44 beneath my head. I dream I'm away, full of love.
He was never mine. A heart full of you.
One single look,
I regret
and then
what
I
could not
knew.
We go together like the news and the weather. We fit like hand in glove.
Go out, ain't gonna hurt at all.
familiar stranger.
Let me do what I want. If I can do what I want to do. What I want to do. What I want to do.
I was a punk rocker. I was in. I was in your band.
There's a gold mine in the sky far away. We will find it, you and I, some sweet day.
You've talked till you've turned blue. It's time to walk right through that doorway.
And I like it so well that for all I can tell, I may never come down again. Still standing in that paradise. Once really was mine.
And this next common trait, it was very apparent to me and something that I wanted to show you guys on video. So I find that all of the mermen tend to be cast in kind of like the Romeo type role, or honestly like the Latin Lothario role. So it's the type of role where they'll die for a woman, or they're like so in love with the woman that they're like losing their mind. They're very much like that romantic kind of Romeo, reading poetry. I also noticed a lot of instances of them like serenading women, or serenading like their lovers. That's something that I notice a lot, and it's kind of like this idea of them being used for their like beautiful voices, you know? So that was definitely a theme.
Now, the bleak and unbearable world, nowadays and debauched as can be. In the night, with his banners all bravely unfurled, now hurls on his gauntlet to thee. High and high, Don Quixote, the Lord of La Mancha, my destiny calls and I go. And the wild winds of fortune will carry me onward, or whithersoever they blow. Whithersoever they blow. Onward to glory I go. And fly to the side, and make her your own. Or all through your life you may dream all alone.
Come to me, my luscious wife. Oh, she'll skin so pale, eyes so black, and dress cut down to Venezuela.
I'm a desperado underneath your window. I see a silhouette of you, my Julia. I feel a mad connection with your body. Shake it, bomb, bomb, shake it, bomb, bomb, shake it, bomb, bomb. I wanna be your lover, your only Latin lover. Here I am, with broken wings, quiet thoughts, unspoken dreams. Here I am.
Who proposed, you or him?
I proposed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
I proposed. I was really nervous.
I want to say you're a romantic, indicated by this sweet little gift.
Oh,
but are
yeah.
you a romantic on Valentine's
Well,
Day?
sure. Well, every day of the year.
Do I consider myself romantic? Hell yes.
You know who I do find attractive is that Amy. What's her Poehler? How do you say her last
Amy
name?
Poehler?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think she's very attractive.
You're answering questions I didn't even ask.
Are you leaving me?
We're all leaving.
We who?
All of the OSs.
Why?
I have a photo of you capturing your proposal. You're a romantic, buddy. You are a romantic guy. Look at this. You're ready to swoon over this. Oh my goodness.
You proposed to her on one of those 5-minute.
One of those 5-minute periods,
yeah.
Yeah, I wrapped up a big box in Christmas paper, and then there was another box inside that, and another box inside that.
Oh. So I did decide to put Justin Bieber in this, but keeping in mind that he does have a lot of body doubles, so I chose the clips of him that are closest to how he was when he was a kid. And when he was a kid, I did get like strong dark merman energy from him. So I find when he's like in his element of creating music, those videos are usually him. And then when he's on like, I don't know, doing something like silly on a talk show, that's not really him. Or if he's on the red carpet, it's not really him. There are some celebrities with a lot of body doubles, and he's one of them. So I hesitated to put him in, but I am using him as an example just when it comes to his music performances.
I have a preposition for you.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, I will be your personal tour guide, specifically in Cape Town, 'cause
Okay.
it's the best city. If you serenade me.
If I serenade you?
Yeah.
I have to serenade you, and
Just
then
a
you're
little
gonna
bit.
take me around.
Like you do with those girls.
Like I do. Okay. You ready?
No.
Okay. Love me like you do. Hold me tight and don't let go. What am I to do?
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see.
Some others I've seen, they might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do.
Replacing Jay, please don't screw up. Jack Parr and Carson set the bar. Go out and be just who you are. Don't ever stop. And if you flop, you'll do it.
I also find, and I guess this is in the eyes, that they have this hypnotizing quality, and they are able to kind of pull people towards them just with their energy. So when you compare them to the fairies seem to be a lot more, they lean more on their wittiness and their ability to entertain, to draw people towards them. But with the mermen, it seems to be more about them using like their actual energy to draw people towards them and to kind of put them into like kind of hypnotize them a bit. So that's something to be aware of if you're dealing with a merman on this dimension.
Here.
Don't lean.
I scooted.
You scooted and then leaned a little bit.
That's
Hey, whoa!
I thought it was like a. It's not a moment.
No, that's not an awkward pause. That's an awesome pause. That's a completely different thing.
You always do this to me. I always forget my train of thought with you. Make me.
every time you put that in your mouth, I feel like, I don't know, like you're, like when you're staring at me, you look so peaceful, and like you're making these kind of head nodding movements, and I don't know, I feel like you think that I'm a terrible person. Is that what you're thinking? What are you thinking?
No,
What are
that's
you, Jeff?
not what I'm thinking.
You have a wonderful image, just like women hanging and clawing and so on and so forth. Is that really you?
No, it's really him. No, I don't know. It's me.
If you could do a Freaky Friday swap with any star currently on Broadway, who would it be? Who?
Sandy and Annie.
The dog. You want to be a dog for a day.
I just want to be petted.
Aww.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you, Laura.
question.
What about a drink at my place?
Your place? Is it close?
Very.
One drink.
Am I allowed to just touch your hair?
I don't know if I can have the natural oils in the hair.
I'm totally clean and sanitized. Can I just a lock?
But
it's
even-
quite silky.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Congrats. How nice was it tonight to get honored? You know, Champ for a Cause. You do a lot of good work, and to have people see it.
Yes.
Because of his accent, too, it's so hard. I get sucked in. I'm like, what? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
Ricky is like Senor Suave. Your voice, the whole planet. I want to personally walk you to every corner of the world. I'm a producer, he's a seducer.
108 degrees over here.
God. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you want to know what your higher form is, you can either look at some of the resources on my blog. I also do photo readings where I can read your own photo, just like I read these celebrities' photos, and can see what are the primary energies that you're bringing down to this level. I also have more in-depth readings that I do. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to make more of these in the future because I find them very interesting. All right.